Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we'll be showing you how to replace a graphics card. In today's video we'll be going from a AMD graphics card, this one here. We'll be removing the drivers and all the associated software, and then installing a Nvidia card, and then going through all the updates, installing the drivers, all that kind of stuff. This is going to be useful for those of you that are perhaps having problems with driver issues, error 41s, all that kind of stuff, or just in general bad performance. So keep watching to find out more. Okay, so today's video, like I said, we're going to be swapping out a graphics card. Now, this actually works both ways, so if you've currently got an Nvidia graphics card in your computer and you want to put in an AMD one, this is basically the same procedure, just you'll have to reverse some things which are kind of pretty obvious, but we'll go through it anyway. We'll also go through actually how to physically remove and replace the graphics card and how to plug in the power connections, all that kind of stuff. So if you're a complete novice and you're not entirely sure what you're doing, hopefully with this video under your belt, you should be able to perform the tasks very simply. If for any reason, at any point in the video, you're not sure, then please feel free to reach out to us on our Discord, which is pretty much manned most of the time, 24/7. If not, someone will get back to you as soon as they can. Or certainly, you can leave comments in that comment section below. Anyway, with that said, let's get on with it. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we're going to go to our computer. So this is in order to remove the software. Now, you want to remove the software before you move the graphics card. Otherwise, you can have some issues. Now, if you're using Windows 10 or Windows 11, probably the best thing for you to do is to go into your Start menu, go into Settings, and then we can go into Apps, which is this one here, and just scroll down through until you find your relevant software. Now, obviously, first this is AMD, but for some people you may want to do Nvidia, so obviously just look for Nvidia rather than AMD. Just use whichever one is appropriate. So if we go to AMD software, and we'll click on Uninstall, and it gives you the information there that this will be uninstalled, so we'll go ahead and click on Uninstall. You'll get the user account control notification come up, so just click on Yes. Now the AMD software will kick in and it will start going through its little procedure here. So we've got the option here, so uninstall, remove, and there's a tick box there. If your edition looks slightly different, again, if you're not entirely sure, reach out to us, but otherwise just choose the obvious thing and click on Uninstall. You may find that your graphics display may flicker during the uninstall. Don't be too concerned about that, that is completely normal. So there we go, the AMD Software Adrenaline Edition has successfully been uninstalled, and you probably noticed there that also the AMD Link software, which is also installed, has also been removed. If you're using an AMD processor, don't worry, the chipset drivers won't be affected. This is just for the Adrenaline driver itself. So the next part is to restart. Now at this point here, I would probably say it's going to be a good idea to also download some other software. So we're going to be downloading a piece of software called DDU, which stands for Display Driver Uninstaller. This will go behind and actually clear up any other things which have been missed off. So let's do that first of all. So we'll go into Google Chrome. Obviously choose whichever browser you feel happy with. Just type in DDU. There will be links for this in the video description if you want to get it a bit easier. I generally tend to use the Guru 3D one. There are going to be links elsewhere, but the Guru 3D one for me has always been absolutely flawless. So all you want to do is scroll down. At the bottom here, you've got the download locations. And don't worry about the actual locations themselves. These are just, ideally you want to choose one which is nearest you for faster downloads. Even though it says Netherlands, it isn't Netherlands language. Same for Germany, West Coast, East Coast, etc. for the USA. Just choose whichever one you want. Generally, they're all going to be pretty much the same speed regardless. So I'm going to choose the EU Netherlands. It'll say here your download will start automatically in 5 seconds. And there we go, our pop-up has started, and you can see it started downloading already to our default location, which is our Windows desktop. So that's all done. So we can close this window down. And we'll just click finish for now. And actually this is a new PC, so my default download directory is going to be downloads. So with this, what you're going to want to do is to unzip the folder first of all, because it's actually in a zipped or compressed folder. So Windows has got its own built-in extraction utility. So we just right click on it and we can choose extract all. If you're using WinZip or 7-zip or some other type of extraction tool, just follow the instructions for that particular software. So this is going to actually extract it into this folder here. So click on extract. And then also inside there, there's a guru3d.com folder and also DDU. Now this is actually another zipped archive. So just double click on it and it'll go through and it'll unzip it again. So it's doubly zipped. And now we've got a new folder. So this is DDU version 18.0.4.9, which is the latest one as of today, the time of making the video. So we're going to open up this folder, and now we've got Display Driver Uninstaller. Now normally you would use this in safe mode, which you can get to by going down to the start menu, clicking on shutdown, and when you choose restart, hold the shift key. There are other ways you can get into safe mode, but that for me is the easiest one. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually restart now into safe mode, and then we're going to run Display Driver Uninstaller. So holding down the shift key, press restart. Just be patient here and just keep on holding down that shift key. And then we get the option to continue, troubleshoot, or turn off. So we want to troubleshoot, and we want advanced options. And then we want startup settings. So now we get the option to restart Windows, to enable safe mode, all that kind of stuff here. So click on restart. If at this point you're on an older version of Windows, such as Windows 7, you can press the F8 key to gain access to safe mode. But we've got some options here, so you can use the number keys or your function keys, and the one we want is just enable safe mode. We can, if you want to, choose enable safe mode with command prompt. The choice is entirely up to you. Actually, I will use safe mode with command prompt because really we should be using DDU as a higher level account or an admin account. So we'll come back to our Windows desktop here. You'll notice that because it's in safe mode, there isn't going to be any drivers loaded, so it may take a little bit longer, and also your resolution will probably change. So first of all, depending on your screen resolution, you may see it look like this with the command prompt. So you can either close this window down, or you can just type exit and it will close that down. Press Alt Control Delete and then run Task Manager. At the top here, run New Task and type in Explorer.exe, and then you get your Windows icons and all that kind of stuff. So now what we want to do is go back to our Downloads folder. So open up File Explorer, go into Downloads, go into our guru3d.com folder, the one which has been extracted already, into the DDU V18 folder, and then we've got Display Driver Uninstaller. So what we want to do here is to right click on that folder and choose Run as Administrator. This is pretty important. And it'll give you these options here. So it says this seems to be the first time you're launching DDU. So obviously you have a quick read through there, make sure you're happy with everything that they're saying there, and then click OK. So now we get the general options. Pretty much all of these have been set to their kind of optimized default, so I would leave them exactly as they are unless you have a specific reason to do otherwise. And you can click on close or the cross at the top. So this is the main interface here. So there's various things we can do. First thing we probably want to do is to select our device type. So we're looking to remove a GPU. So click on GPU. It's kind of detected Radeon already. So you can choose whichever one it is. So if you're removing Nvidia drivers, choose Nvidia. If you're removing AMD drivers, choose AMD. And if you're removing Intel drivers, choose Intel. Obviously, choose whichever one is relevant to you. So we're going to choose AMD. And then we've got the options up here. So we can either do a clean and restart, clean and do not restart, or clean and shut down. So if you're installing a new graphics card, this is probably going to be the best way of doing it. So we're going to choose clean and shut down. And now just click on it and wait for it to do its thing. So it will take a little while, so just be sort of patient with it. You may find again that the screen may go blank, and you will find that these logs will be written as well, and it'll tell you exactly what it's doing. So again, just be patient, let it do its thing. When it's done, it will shut down the PC, and then we're ready to remove the graphics card. And there we go, Windows is shut down. Okay, so now the PC is shut down. As you can see, fans have stopped, all that kind of stuff. So this is the back of the PC. We're going to do some certain things here. So the first thing you want to do is to turn off your power supply. So you should have a switch like this. If not, you can just unplug the power switch itself, or the power cable rather. So I'm going to turn that off. If you want to, you can turn this off at the mains as well. You can tell if there's still power because you'll have LEDs possibly to your network adapters. If there's still a little bit of charge left in there, you can press the power button and hold it, and that should discharge the electricity. There we go. So everything is completely off. At this point, you can, if you want to, you can use one of those anti-static strips to plug yourself in. Again, entirely up to the individual. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to unplug our monitor connection. So in this case, it's an HDMI, so we'll get rid of that. Again, if you want to, you can unplug the power connection. That is entirely up to you. You will need a screwdriver of some sort. So on this particular case, our mounting bracket has a single screw on the back and also 2 screws on the side. So we'll remove that shield there, and flipping that round, you can see now we've got 2 screws we can remove here. We've also got a power connection to the graphics card itself. So I'm going to undo these 2 screws here first of all. Don't worry, your graphics card isn't going to fall out. So we're going to need to remove the power to our graphics card. Now on these, generally there's a little tag just there which clips on. So what we want to do is just firmly grab the cable, a little bit of downward pressure, and then a slight wiggle, and it should come out pretty easily. And this one is a 6+2. Yours may be a solid 8-pin. Should do very much the same thing. To remove the graphics card, there's also a locating tag at the back of your PCI Express, which hopefully you can just about see there. So it might be a little bit tight, but try and get your finger or something in there and push it into the downward position or closest to the motherboard. You can, if you want to, get like a plastic tool or a pen and just give that just a push to make sure that it's loose, and then you should see the graphics cards move out for slightly from the computer. Now we can just pull the card out and take it out of the machine. Replacing the graphics card is going to be pretty much the same but in reverse. So we've got our graphics card. Make sure that that tab at the back is open and line up the PCI Express copper or gold tabs there with your PCI Express slots on the motherboard. And once you're lined up, you can see there's a little tags there actually on the PCI Express which match up, just to make sure they're okay. And then what I would do is, using both hands, a little bit of pressure on the back on the PCI Express plate, and just firmly press it both sides at the same time, and you should find that there's a click. When you've clicked or push it in, you should find that that PCI Express retainer has moved forward and the card is locked into place. So if you wiggle it a little bit, it shouldn't fall out. So now we can go ahead and put the screws back in the back plate. You may find with this a little bit of movement on the back just to make sure it's level, and get one of the screws in. You don't want to over tighten these, just make sure that it's snug. If you do tighten them too much, you may find you actually damage the threads on your case, depending obviously on the quality of your case. So that's those both done. Now we can plug in our power to the graphics card. On this particular card, it's a 6-pin connection, so that's really simple. So on our cable that we already had here, we can just use that 6-pin connection. If you don't have one of these in your PC already, check on your power supply. You may potentially need to replace your power supply. We're just going to push that in and it will snap into place. Hopefully you heard that, so that's clicked into place. If you want to, just give it a little wiggle just to make sure that it isn't loose. Now we can grab our HDMI cable and plug it back in. Now on the back of this particular card, we've got a bunch of display ports. We've only got one HDMI, which is this one in the middle, so, well, in the middle of the 2 other ports. So plug that in. We now turn the PC power back on, and we're ready to turn on the PC again. At this point, before you turn on your PC, if you want to, you can plug in or put in any other mounting panels. I almost forgot this one. And there we go. That's nice and firm and secure. So now we can turn back on the PC. So we'll head over back to the Windows desktop now to install our new drivers. Okay, so we're back to our Windows desktop, and you'll probably notice again your resolution is going to be all kind of messed up. So we've got these huge icons over here on the left, and you'll probably see other things going on, such as your sound isn't working, or it says no speakers or headphones are plugged in. This is actually very normal because most of the time you'll find that your audio is passed through your HDMI to your monitor. If you've got a headset or headphones plugged in, you may not get this, but quite often you will do. So most people at this point will be tempted to go ahead and just start installing drivers. Now Windows at the moment in the background is probably already doing it. So if we right click and choose Device Manager. So at the moment it says Microsoft Basic Display Adapter, which is why we've got our horrible resolution and it's all very laggy and all that kind of stuff. So you can, if you want to, you can head over to Windows Update, because you'll probably find that Windows is actually updating in the background anyway. So if we do check for updates, it may well find that there's an Nvidia driver. Yeah, because we've forced it to try and do an update, it's actually downloaded the drivers in the background. So there we go, we had a flash of the screen and now we've got our resolution back. So we're now installed and it says there Nvidia GeForce GTX 1060 6GB, which is what the card is. And also Nvidia control panel has got installed, all that kind of stuff. So for most people this is going to be fine. You can actually just carry on using the system as it is. Windows does a relatively good job of installing the correct graphics driver for the particular version you've got. But if you're not happy with that, or you want the extra features such as the things available in the GeForce software or obviously AMD's Adrenalin software, you can head over and get the latest drivers. So we're going to go to Nvidia, because obviously this is an Nvidia card, and we can go to nvidia.com. There is a drivers tab, so you can click on drivers over here, and then this is how you choose your particular driver. So you have Nvidia driver downloads. This is a GeForce card, and choose the one which is appropriate to you. So this is a 10 series. Make sure you get the right version here. So there's notebooks and there's the 10 series desktop version. Something that we should clarify actually now before we go ahead and do this. If you're following this along and you're using perhaps a mobile device or a laptop, that kind of thing, you may find that the actual graphics drivers are better from the manufacturer than they are from Nvidia themselves. There's quite a few manufacturers out there which will use a custom version of the cards, even though they do appear in Windows as a, say for instance, a GTX 1060. There may be subtle differences in which there is a custom driver. So first thing to do, I would possibly suggest, is to check with your laptop manufacturer, download the drivers that they've got and actually look to see if it's the same as the Nvidia ones. Sometimes they will be, sometimes they won't be, but there is a reason behind it, and it's because they quite often have custom cards. So I just wanted to make you all aware of that. Anyway, for desktop users, most GeForce 10 cards are all the same, so we'll choose that one. You can choose a specific model, although all of these will be covered by the same driver anyway, because they have a unified driver these days. So we're going to choose the 1060, because that's what we've got. We're on Windows 10. Obviously, depending on your operating system, choose the one which is appropriate to you. So Windows 8, Windows 7, etc., Windows 11. And there's an option of the Game Ready driver or the Studio driver. So depending on what you're using your PC for, if you're using your PC for predominantly video editing and for streaming, that kind of stuff, you may actually find that the Studio driver is more stable and potentially will give you better results within things like Adobe Premiere. But for this particular instance, we're going to go with the Game Ready driver, and then you can choose your language as appropriate. Click on search, and then it will come out with the latest version. So this one is actually very new. So this is from the 26th of the 4th. We're currently recording this on the 29th of the 4th. In some instances, getting the latest version isn't always the best version because there's issues in it which have not been kind of brought to the surface yet. But this one has the WHQL certification on there, so that basically means they've tested it with Windows of the particular version which is out at the moment for Windows 10 64-bit. So that's going to be 21H2, I think it is at the moment. So it should be okay in theory. If for some reason you're getting problems, you might want to actually roll back and get an earlier driver. But try not to confuse things too much, but there are these things to consider. Anyway, we'll go ahead and click on download. And it should start downloading. If it doesn't, you can just click on download again to force it into action. So as you can see at the bottom there, it's going to be now downloading to our default location, which again, this is a fresh install, so it's going to go to our downloads folder. If on your PC you've changed your downloads location, it'll be where you last saved things. So when that's done, you can either choose to show it in a folder or open it. So I'll show open in a folder just so you can see that it has gone to our downloads folder. And all we need to do is double click on the file. Wait for it to extract. It's actually quite a big file. It's getting on for, well, it's heading towards a gig at the moment, which is pretty crazy. So this is the Nvidia package launcher. So click on yes. And it asks you where you want to install. I would suggest just leaving it for the defaults. Click OK. And let it go ahead and do its thing. So at this point in the Nvidia Graphics Driver Installer, you have the option to install just the graphics driver if you wish to, or the graphics driver and the GeForce Experience. Now the GeForce Experience will require you to actually log into your PC with a specific Nvidia account, should you wish to, and that will give you access to things like the kind of shadow play and other various features. So for this particular instance, I'm just going to choose the graphics driver because so you don't want to be using usernames and passwords. But again, choose whichever one is going to be more appropriate to you. You can always add the GeForce Experience later, should you wish to. So yeah, you're not, it isn't a one-way street. If you install the graphics driver, you can install GeForce Experience after. So we're going to agree and continue. Then we get the option for Express, which is the recommended option, or Custom. And just for clarity here, if we go into Custom and click on Next, it just tells you what it's going to actually install. And again, at this point, you can still choose to do different things, such as adding the GeForce the GeForce Experience, all that kind of stuff. So it's going to install the graphics driver, the HD audio driver, which you will need because that is what is basically funneling audio through your HDMI cable or your DisplayPort cable to your monitor. It's also going to install the PhysX system software. I'm not too sure whether that's still relevant these days, but it's actually a relatively small file, so it isn't too much of a problem. You do have the option as well here to perform a clean installation. Now, because this is already a clean installation, clearly we don't need to do that. The clean installation option is kind of a way of doing it in a similar way as DDU, but not quite as thorough. So anyway, we'll click on Next. And now we get to watch some adverts from Nvidia telling us how great they actually are. Again, whilst this is happening, you may find that your display flickers on and off or your resolution will change. Don't be too concerned, it is completely normal. So we've come to the end there. So Nvidia Graphics Driver has been installed. GeForce Experience wasn't selected, but it says there that everything's installed. At this point, everything should be absolutely fine. If you get a problem here, so there's an error here, it's unlikely, but that probably means that DDU didn't quite do its job, or there is an inherent issue within your Windows operating system which needs to be addressed before you can install things correctly. That we can cover in a separate video. Again, if you need help with that, Discord or let us know in the comments section below. So really we've come to the end of this section now, so we do need to restart now. It is best to do a restart now just so that the drivers can initialize and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to go ahead and restart now. And there we go, back to our Windows desktop, so everything seems okay. There's no strange artifacts on the screen. If there is artifacts on the screen, certain things which you might want to look at is things like, is your power supply actually providing enough juice to the graphics card? So make sure your power supply rating is well above what the graphics card actually needs. Something else you can do from here as well is some sort of stress test is always a good idea. So there's things like Unigine Heaven, which is an older one, but it's actually quite easy to do. So you can just go and do the Heaven benchmark and just leave that loop in for a bit to make sure it passes and does as it should do. And obviously you can compare your results with other cards to see how they've done. Alternatively, if you've got a Steam account or you've already purchased it, you can get something like 3D Mark. That's always really good as well. You can just leave that loop in, all those kinds of things. So there we go. I think that's pretty much going to be it. Like I said at the beginning, this is kind of a complete newbie's guide, so how to remove and install a graphics card. There's many things that can potentially go wrong. Not everything we can cover in a video because it would just be way too long and there's way too many variables. If you have got stuck or you found parts of this video that you couldn't follow, please do reach out to us. Email address mike@mikesunboxing.com. You can reach us via our Discord. That's probably going to be the quickest way of doing it as well. Or again, like I said, leave a comment in the comment section below. We do try and answer all of your questions. So I think that's going to pretty much wrap it up. Good luck to you out there if you're following this along, and hopefully your installations go okay. But for now, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.